members. We have an email list with 187,000 subscribers. We do coaching calls, we do workshops, we do groups. We're linked up with all of the disruptive, amazing partners that are in the industry. And we're here to serve you. So today I wanted to talk about leads. I wanted to talk about lead generation a little bit. And I brought on my buddy Wally to do that with me. Wally, good morning. I'd love to hear an introduction from you and say hello, and then we'll get started.
Sure. Good to see everybody, and real grateful to spend some time with you today. My name is Wally Bressler. I've been in the real estate industry for 27 years as of this year, and I've been coaching and working or training with agents since for 24 of those years. And so, I'm super passionate about helping agents be successful. And, my mindset is if you're willing to give up a steady paying job with benefits to become a real estate agent, then you have, the opportunity and the basically you should have everything available to you to be successful, so you can make as much money as you want. And I actually co-authored a book with a bunch of agents and influencers from now in the US, around the US and Canada, called Six Figure Agent: How to Make Six Figures in Real Estate. And I'm going to upload it so you guys can have a free copy of it for today.
I love it. Thanks, Wally. Wally, why don't we actually start there? Why did you write that book?
Oh boy. They asked me to? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, they did, but that's not why I wrote it. Credibility and authority are super important in any industry that you're in, especially real estate. And today, even with the digital presence that's required by all people in just about every industry, writing a book is still a great way to establish credibility and authority. So, but more importantly, I'm big, obviously I'm a coach. I'm big on helping people, usually 100K a year, six figures is the first stop on the train for most agents. They want to get there first. And I'm passionate about helping people do that. And so I was excited to be part of that book, writing that book, because I want people to be able to have the tools and strategies and everything else available to them to make that happen. Real estate is as hard as it's ever been, and if you got in business since 2013, this is really the first crazy thing you've seen, right? Even COVID only, the real estate market for COVID only looked crazy for about 6 months, right? And then it took off. So this is really the first close to a balanced market that most people have seen. So anything you can get your hands on to help you improve your skill set and whatnot is absolutely a must.
So, Wally, let me ask you kind of a loaded question. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is a struggle with confidence over and over again. And there's two lanes. There's the new or newer agent that doesn't have the confidence yet to go make calls, do lead gen, follow up, have conversations, do that kind of thing. And then there's the seasoned agent, where our medium of communication and the market has changed and isn't sure where to start. What advice or direction would you give towards confidence for everybody here?
Okay. So if you've sold one house, more than 95% of the public about buying or selling a house, right? I mean, even if there's a truckload of stuff available on the internet, I could sit as a consumer, I could sit on the internet all day long and look around and still not know how to put a transaction together. You'd agree? So the first thing you have to realize is that, and quite honestly, if the fact that you're here, letting us pour into you and learning and growing and taking this material to put it back into your business puts you significantly further apart, not just from the average consumer, but also your competition, right? So feel good about that. The other thing is confidence is 100% an inside job, right? External, getting external validation from somebody, external approbation, I guess it's like pizza, right? It's great while you have it, but you're going to need it 3 hours later, right? So you really have to look, right? It's true, right? I mean, it's great. You get it. As soon as it's gone, 3 hours later, you're going to need more of it. So I think, you have to believe that it's possible. I mean, some of the most successful real estate agents on the face of the planet never went to college. Some of them never even graduated high school, right? So this is a level playing field. Everybody's playing with the same deck of cards, right? And, you just have to play the cards that are dealt you. So that being said, you've got to take responsibility for your confidence. And there's a couple things you can do. Number one, if you don't have, if you're not, doing personal development work, whether it's a book or watching a video on a daily basis, you're missing the boat, right? You can strengthen your brain tremendously from that. Okay. You should be doing some affirmations. All right. Visualization. And if you've never read Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning, all that stuff really inures to your benefit to help you build a strong sense of self. Okay. The other thing is you got to find a way to not give a rat's butt when anybody thinks about you, right? Because what anybody thinks about you is completely none of your business. Show of hands. Who likes Brussels sprouts? Raise your hand. All right, you guys are all dead to me. Immediately dead. Done. Bye. Worst vegetable on the face of the planet. Worst. But Wally, you got if you brown it and crisp it in oil with bacon and garlic and onions and put soy sauce, right? Nan's like, yeah, and maple syrup. Nan, I could do that to a flip-flop and make it taste good, right? Okay. And anything you've got to do that much work to choke down is not good. But here's the thing. You crazies like it. I don't. But it is not us. It's the Brussels sprout, right? Some people are going to like us. Some people aren't. Right. And quite honestly, just so you know, 59% of all salespeople have a very strong need. Okay, that's enough from you, Sean. All right. No bacon, no nothing. You know what? You could fry them and make an ice cream sundae out of it. It's not going in. But anyway, so here's the thing. Abraham Maslow said it best. He said, be independent of the good opinion of other people. Oh, 59% of all salespeople have a very strong need to be liked. Okay. Not want to be liked, but need to be liked, which means they fear rejection. Okay. And that fear of rejection, that fear of being judged, that fear of not being good enough, low self-esteem, low self-worth, which we all have in certain areas of our life, right? We all have that. I mean, look, I'm 6'3", you've met me, I'm 6'3", about 300 pounds. I cast a pretty large shadow, played college football. I mean, Raymond stood next to me. Probably people want to know why I had that kid standing next to me talking to me, right? Because he looks like a third my size. But the whole point is that, it's one of these things where I don't care. I'm saying? It doesn't matter to me what other people think of me. And so, and a lot of us, Sean, I mean, like 59% of us. And so anyway, you've got to get to the point where why you fear rejection. If you want to know if you fear rejection, if you have problems with low self-esteem. Oh, here's what I'm going to say. My size, I'm 6'3", I'm 300 pounds. Like my confidence about being a jockey for a horse, probably not so good. I can't imagine a horse would let me on it, quite honestly, right? You want me to be a ballerina? Probably not going to feel so confident about that, right? I've got 3 girls, all have long hair. You want me to do their hair? It's a 0, right? So we don't have 100% confidence in everything that we do. Is that fair? Right. And so,
Sure.
yes, Tushar, every fear has a counter. Absolutely. And so anyway, so getting back to my point here, Abraham Maslow be independent of the good opinion of other people. If you want to know why you fear rejection, I'm going to give you a little exercise you can do tonight. Okay. Just take a couple of note cards or take a couple of pieces of paper and on it and just write, what is it that's causing me to fear rejection? Or what is it that's making me a people pleaser? Or why is it that I have call reluctance? Okay. And put that on both cards. And I want you to keep them with you. And I want you to put one next to your nightstand. And I'll tell you why in a second. And your subconscious is going to tell you, okay? 9.5 times out of 10, it's going to be because of something that happened between the time you were born and the time you were 12, right? By the time we're 7, most of our belief systems about who we are locked in. By the time we're 10, we're pretty much done. And when you're 12, who you are and your thought patterns about who you are and what you can do are pretty much locked in, okay? So if you are a people pleaser, if you fear rejection, if you have call reluctance, low self-esteem, low self-worth in this area, it's because of something there, right? Awareness is important because then you can go start working on those things. The reason I want you to put one next to your nightstand is because every night when you go to bed, your subconscious goes to work, and what it does is remember the librarian's cart, the little T-shape, the triangle shaped cart. The librarian put the books on it and would go put it on the shelf. That's what your brain's doing at night when you're in bed. It's taking things and going, oh, it makes sense of this, makes sense of that. Oh, I'm not making so much sense of this, right? And so what happens is it starts leaving things on the floor that are not dealt with, and that's where you get insomnia, tough time sleeping, and all that stuff. Okay, so self-confidence, reading and pouring into yourself with personal development, affirmations, visualization, okay, and then approving of yourself, and then take those 2 note cards and then ask yourself, hey, why is it that what is it that causes this, or what is it that causes that? And your subconscious is going to go, oh, hey, I've been trying to get you to deal with this for the last 15 years, this or whatever, right? And then when you see that, when you hear it, like, so for instance, let me give you an example. I had call reluctance for 10 years. And, I had a binge eating disorder from the age of 6. Okay. I mean, I literally just got over it a little while ago. And so, because, when I was a kid, my parents were good people, but not so great at being parents. And I used to be sent to bed at age 3, 4, and 5 without dinner for being punished. And so that created a huge fear of being hungry for me. Okay. And then as a result of that, I started using food to soothe my pain and to make sure that I didn't have to deal with things. And then I grew to over 500 pounds. And so what happened is as I got heavier, my self-esteem suffered, right? And I didn't want to be in front of people. And so I realized that not only did I have to lose a lot of weight to live, but I also had to go to work on my mind and realize that, number one, you liking me has nothing to do with me. And number two, even if you don't like me, there's plenty of people out there to do business with. Okay. So that's a crash course in confidence building. Hopefully it was helpful for you. But it is your responsibility. And if you do those things that I shared with you, I'm happy, we have to, I also have another book it's basically part memoir, part personal development, where I explain all that. I'm not selling anything. I'm just saying, if you want to dig deeper into that, let me know. Okay. Is that good
I
enough?
love it. Yeah,
All right.
Wally, that was amazing. Like that
Yeah,
was an amazing
thank you.
session. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I want to bridge the gap, right? So everyone's going to go and we're going to do this exercise. What am I afraid of? Why do I feel like that? Why do I have these thoughts, right? We can start to index our thoughts, take inventory of them, and then conquer them one at a time over time, right? This is not a quick exercise. But moving towards lead generation, like if you have a business and you own a business, which being an agent, a lender, a title company owner, whatever, you're a business owner. You
Right.
need clients. Without clients, you don't have a business, period, right? So moving to lead generation itself, so many people are afraid of it. They're afraid of the term. They don't do the work. They won't show up to be consistent. They don't see results right away. Like, what's your prescription for helping somebody bridge that gap and knowing that you need more time, right? Like, you need 9 to 12 months to build a pipeline. You need 9 to 12 months to get people through the funnel. You need 9 to 12 months to get better at speaking, at having conversations, at doing all this work as part of your business. You know,
Mhm.
you and I are interacting with thousands of agents a year on a regular basis with the different platforms we're involved in. And we see that 99% of the problem is people aren't showing up to do the work. So how do we fix that? Like industry wide, I know super loaded question, but it's a very human question.
We're just going to go back to what we were talking about. Okay. Um, your inability to get on the phone and prospect consistently, your fear of the phone, if you don't go to the gym consistently when you're supposed to, if you don't stick to your goals, if you don't stick to your diet, if you continually date the wrong people for you, it's all related to the stuff we were just talking about. It's really that internal belief system about what you think is possible and what you can and can't do. So part of what's going to allow for that consistency is cleaning up some of that crap from when you were younger, right? And to your point, you said before there's two tracks on the train. So one track in real estate is 100% mental, emotional, psychological, right? Not an easy business, right? You can get your butt handed to you on any number of reasons. Deals can go great until the right before closing. So lots of crap can happen that can get you off your game. So you do have to work on those things that we were talking about before, and identify what's getting in your way, and then work on the things related to that, because clearing that up makes things a lot easier for you to do the other things, to be consistent. And I'm gonna share something personal with you here today. And I speaking of not being a good parent, I was not a good parent for a while. My ex-wife was not a good parent for a while. We had some bad things happen, and my children have all gone through some stuff. My son Alex had a really tough time, and back in 2017 or 18, he tried to take his own life. And so he's in great shape now. He's 20, lives up in New Hampshire, having a great time. But that was a struggle for us. But it was interesting because when I started, because I have a business to help people with call reluctance, I'm not selling anything. I'm just kind of giving you perspective here. And so I said, hey, Al, come work with me. And I gave him a piece of paper. I said, write down 10 things for me that you want to accomplish. Great. So he sat there for an hour and couldn't come up with one thing, not a thing. I was like, wow, that's weird. I'm like, you wanted to go to Peter Luger's and get steak in New York. Oh yeah. You want to own a home in New Hampshire with a pond. Oh yeah, right. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure it out. So I have a friend who's what do you call it? Imposter syndrome expert. She works with C-level people. She's out in England. Her name is Tara Halliday. And we sat down, we talked one day, and what we realized is that, you know, once that flight mode gets triggered when you're a kid, whatever it is, gets triggered by all kinds of things, getting yelled at, getting bullied, getting hit, sexual, emotional, physical abuse, you know, uh, alcoholic parents, absentee parents, divorced parents, once that flight instinct gets triggered, your brain takes over. It's going to protect you at all costs, right? No matter what. We've got this negativity bias that keeps us from like petting rattlesnakes and stepping in front of in front of 18 wheelers. But your brain also leans in because its job is to keep you safe and alive. And so when you get triggered as a kid, it goes, I'm going to protect you from this. And because we don't know how to deal with our emotions, it just does it your entire life. So what happens is whatever triggered it when you were a kid, your brain's been looking backwards your entire life and looking up where you're trying to protect you. Does that make sense? And so your brain can only do so much. So it's hard to focus on being consistent, right? It's hard to focus on the future. That's why a lot of people don't know their why. It's because their brain is so clogged up with, the things that are there to protect them, which includes not putting yourself in situations where you can be rejected and hurt and stuff like that. So, that consistency comes from doing that work that we talked about, that inside work, and cleaning out some of those pipes, if you will, so that you can open your eyes and you can see that, good things can happen to you, that you're worthy of good things. And then you can start leaning into the consistency, because if that consistency includes putting yourself in a position where you're going to be scared, you're just not going to do anything. Does that make sense?
I love it, Wally.
You know,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm not trying to turn this into a therapy class, but this is, this is what I've been working on for the last 4 years. It's really, it's a passion of mine, because, I'm not going to tell you my whole life story, but I made a lot of bad choices, and, I've lost everything 4 times. In 2014, I had 54 cents to my name. I, was homeless. I had to live in somebody's house, all that stuff. So anyway, so we've all gone through it, but then I'm like, hey, I got to do some work here because I'm sick of losing everything, and I'm sick of not having good relations with my family. And so I've spent the last 5 years now actually working on this. And so that's pretty much the essence of it. Your brain is, for the most part, doing work in the background, and to keep you safe, to keep you well, not well, but keep you safe, and to protect you from things it doesn't need to protect you from. Nobody needs protection from a phone. It's 7 ounces of metal and plastic. The only way this thing's going to hurt you is if I throw it at you or if you try to eat it. That's it. It's not going to hurt you, right? So anyway, so it's the consistency comes from you getting the gunk out of the way so you can believe in yourself, and also stop worrying about what other people are thinking about you, so that you can focus more on what you need to do rather than, oh my God, am I doing a good job or not?
So, Wally, I think that awareness drives authenticity.
Yep.
And the more authentic you can be, the less you have to sell, right? Because you become marketable as a person,
Right
and
on.
you'll focus forward on attracting the people that you want to do business with, right? Whether they're interest based, or they're in your community, or whatever that case may be. Do
May
you
I say
agree with that?
something? Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
please.
let me just say something, okay? Every one of us, every one of you here today, I don't care if you're 15, 20, 30, 70, 80, you're already good enough the way you are. The minute you were born, you were good enough, right? You don't need to be taller, shorter, heavier, thinner, richer, right? And there's nothing you can do to make yourself more acceptable, okay? People are going to like you or not, and you're all good enough just the way that you are. And as soon as you realize that you are exactly who you are and the way you are because you're supposed to be that way, and not give a rat's about what anybody thinks, your life is going to change dramatically. But every one of you is good enough just the way that you are, with nothing to change. And you have to own that, because if you're not getting the results in your business, then you need to look at yourself and say, okay, what do I need to change to get the results that I want? And one of those things I need to change is what you think of me is none of my business. Cool.
Yep.
Now to
You
answer, go, sorry.
no, take
Oh,
your space,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like let's
100%.
occupy our own space first.
Right. And so with regard to authenticity, we all have masks, I'm saying? We all been hiding from one thing or another our entire lives, I'm saying? I mean, I believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Nothing I do says I'm an introvert, but I'm an introvert. And like when I go speak at events, usually, like, I used to MC this 3-day event one time, and as soon as I was done, I would literally take my stuff from my room, pack my car, and go sit in the movie theater for 3 hours. Okay. And so I was like, I want nothing to do with people, but I have to be an extrovert to do my job. And I couldn't figure out why I was an introvert, but some things happened when I was a kid that I became an extrovert to hide the pain, so people wouldn't judge me and think less of me. So we all carry these masks, but when you have this mask on, when you're hiding, when you're trying to protect, you can't be authentic, and people can sniff out lack of authenticity like that, right? We're vibrational beings. We know when somebody's full of me, are they, and not, right? I can say the Spanish version of that, right? It sounds better than what it really is. Me, are they? Anyway, So yes, authenticity is a key ingredient to building trust. And
Mierda.
whatever you call it, sister, however you say it, you know what I'm talking about. Poop. Right. But yeah, your authenticity is 1000% going to help you build trust with people. Did we lose Ray?
Oh, I'm here. Am I
He's
back?
here.
Oh,
He's
there you
here.
are. Okay, lost you. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that authenticity is a key ingredient, and you can't be authentic while you're hiding yourself.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do here's what we're gonna do next, guys. Wally, we're gonna go into 2 rounds of breakout rooms, and then we'll wrap it up with just kind of open Q&A. What's an icebreaker question that you can give everybody in our breakout rooms?
An icebreaker question.
Yeah.
What you know what's your superpower? Everybody's got a superpower. What's
I
your
love that.
superpower, and how do you use it?
Okay, I have breakout rooms set up 4 to 5 participants. So let's see how it goes. I don't know if she said has
involved real estate sales. You have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to be an extrovert. I don't believe
I
it's
didn't say
possible.
extrovert. Hold on, I didn't say extrovert. I just said you have to have confidence in yourself. I don't believe you have to be an expert to be a good salesperson.
Okay, well, I
Sorry.
support your position of having confidence in yourself, 100%.
Yep, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be an extrovert though, for God's sakes. You know, only 11% of the planet is an extrovert. So
Well, that's what I thought I heard you say. You said you're qualified to be an NFL football player,
I
and
mean,
that's what I thought you meant.
yeah. I played college football. I've
You-
got arthritis in my right elbow to prove it.
You know, you mentioned that you were highly qualified to be assertive physically, so I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and thanks for the clarification. I don't. Yeah, I think 11 to 13% of the planet is high D's. It's not a bunch. It's very little. So, yes, but thanks for the David. Thanks for the clarification on that. So,
Hey, Wally, we
Right.
have a question or a hand raised from Tiffany.
yeah,
Go ahead, Tiffany.
give us all.
Yes, you know what, talking about like childhood traumas and the things that hinder you from doing something, how did you kind of see where that roadblock was in your life? Like,
I
kind of put it together.
Well, I went through 4 years of intensive therapy and counseling to start, because I was 51 and I hadn't done one thing to work on myself. So that was part of it. But, I just, I've been coaching online. I'll tell you kind of what the genesis of it was, I was working on myself and doing some work for myself. And, everything that I was working on is, the stuff that I had from when I was a childhood. I was bullied and, all kinds of crazy things. But I was talking to one of my clients who was a firefighter, and he's in South Carolina. And we put his 90-day plan together. We did our beginning coaching, first couple of sessions to get things lined out. And I said, okay, time to get on the phone. And he goes, I don't do the phone. I go, what do you mean you don't do the phone? I'm like, no. He says, I'm like, dude, most people are leaving a burning building. You're going into a burning building. You're carrying people out on your shoulder. You're saving people's lives in the sidewalk, and you can't pick up the phone. He said, no. I'm like, okay. And so I just started taking things that I've been learning about myself and putting it together. And, I did some research. I'm like, can you ask your subconscious questions? And I got like some 1.9 million responses and stuff like that, because your subconscious remembers everything you've ever tasted, touched, smelled, heard, or seen. It remembers everything. And how it catalogs it is different for everybody, but it remembers it. So when you do the note card exercise, your subconscious starts sending you things. And as I've been talking, some of you, your subconscious has already been reminding you of stuff that happened when you were a kid. And it just happens. It does it automatically. And quite honestly, because your brain wants clarity, it's excited to send that to you because it wants OUT badly, right? Clarity, understanding, peace, safety. That's what your brain wants. And so anyway, I started working with Brian, and we're talking, and he's going, and I'm kind of creating the courses I'm going along here. And then one day he texts me, says, hey, I just got a $500,000 FSBO listing. I go, great. How'd you get that? He goes, I was prospecting. I go, what? He goes, yeah. And he says, the guy's a builder. He's got another $750,000 house to sell. I'm like, okay. So I started putting things together and doing more research on the whole process. And, Ray said this earlier, like awareness is the key, right? I can't, you don't go to the doctor and say, my head hurts. And the doctor doesn't say, okay, lay down, we're going to operate. They're like, is it pain on the inside? Is it on the outside? Is it intermittent? Is it, what I'm saying? And so once you figure that out, you can then start dealing with what you need to deal with. Anyway,
Go ahead.
so does that help? Did that answer your question? Whoever asked that question?
Yes, that sure did.
Yeah. You know, and here's the thing, and I'm like, oh, hello, doggy. So, and so Tiffany, and this is not just for Tiffany, it's obviously for everybody. Here's the thing, like what happens is it's called TFAR, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. If you've ever followed T. Harv Eker, he calls it TFAR, and it's thoughts, feelings, actions, results. So what happens is we get triggered. A lot of times we don't even know what triggers us because it's been happening for so long. And the space between the trigger and the emotion is like I can't even put it that close. And so it fires off so quickly that we don't even realize it, okay? And then what happens is we get triggered, then we get emotion, and we experience the emotion and go to a level 10, or we avoid it and we go right to action, which is usually procrastination, perfectionism, cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, pornography, sex, folding clothes,
Cell
desk scroll-
phone.
cell phone, right? Anything. We go, oh my God, I got a prospect right now. Look at all the dishes in the sink. Holy cow, I got to clean those, right? Look at that laundry has been sitting there a week, right? And so what happens is, and then you get the result, but it's not the result you want. But if you, once you figure out where the disconnect is coming, where that procrastination, whatever's coming from, whatever that trigger is, you'll realize that there's a, thank you, D. You'll realize that there's a physiological response. Your body feels every emotion. There's a physiological response to it. And usually the ones we're trying to avoid are painful. So if you can stop for a second and become mindful, and mindful is just focusing on the present, you can make that emotion go away. And then you can tell your brain that we don't get triggered by those things. So if you've never done mindfulness, I would just go Google square breathing. That's probably the easiest way to start. Or I still send people to the mindful movement on YouTube for more developed mindfulness, but you can rewire your brain so that things don't trigger you anymore. Okay. Does that help, Tiffany?
Mhm. Yes, indeed.
That session was free of charge, by the way.
Monica, you're up.
So Wally is speaking my language, you guys. And I think that's just the beginning of the conversation for most people. It is so true because you're programming, and I want to give you a quick exercise. Your programming is created from the day you're born. Like Wally said, you're created perfectly, right? You don't care what the cry face looks like, how loud it is, how stinky the diaper is, who's going to clean it up, because we don't know the world of judgment, right? Then the world does things to us, says things to us. We see things, we experience things. And then it puts what I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. It's the 6 inches in between the ears, right? That says, Wally, you can't do that. You can't, you don't know. If you call people, you're bothering them. Oh, everyone's got 1,000 realtors, right? I don't know what to say. They're going to think I'm trying to say all the things, right, that don't serve you. So do the exercise he said. And I've got an exercise called Map Your Life. And what it boils down to is write a timeline of your life, right? And do all the highs, the things that you celebrate, right? You got married or you had children or whatever, you had your first boyfriend, first kiss, and the lows. As many as you can, and then write down what you made that mean about you. What was the belief that you gained, right? And then there's a whole process, but the truth is, ask your higher power, what's the truth about that? Is it things like people are doing the best they can with what they have and know? Things like I am created perfectly. Just because someone says something doesn't mean that it's true, right? Is it that what is the evidence of that? Because your unconscious mind, like Wally said, is going to go after what you tell it. So if you don't fix these things, my friends, you'll see more opportunities and evidence to believe them, right? You fix them, just like when you bought a new car, right? Did you start searching that new car everywhere? It's not because they made more of them, right? No. Yeah, look up the monkey illusion video. And it's a powerful thing to look at, you guys. Love this information, Wally. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Wally, we're going to hit our next breakout rooms, and then we'll come back and wrap up. Jackie, we ready?
Hold on.
Our
I'm getting
breakout
good. I'm
room
not
question is gonna
100% yet.
Our breakout room question is going to be, what's your kryptonite? Which Danny, our very own Danny Lung, volunteered that for us. Thanks, Danny.
Okay, I'm going to set them up.
All right, let's do it. Hit the gas.
All right, I think that it's being told how good I am at breakout rooms.
I got a hard stop.
All right, I think everyone's back, Ray. Go.
All right, guys. Hey, Wally, go ahead, bud. We're going to wrap it up. You ready?
I have a hard stop at 10. My mom's calling me. I'm kidding. No, I do have a hard stop at 10. I do have to go somewhere. So is there anything you wanted to chat about real quickly before I took off?
No, guys, we can wrap it up. I am just going to drop, if you like Wally, you can get more of him with realty.com. He's actually one of the coaches over there. So I'm going to drop a link for you to take a peek at what they offer, all of us awesome agents here. And Wally, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate you, man.
And I did upload that book for you guys. You guys can download the PDF. It's there. You can grab it and Six-Figure Agent. And come see me every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at realty.com/training. And we do training and office hours and all kinds of stuff. You guys be good to yourselves, okay? Bye-bye.
Love you,
Thanks,
Wally.
Wally.
Thanks so
Bye.
much.
Wally.
Have a good
Thanks.
day.
Bye, guys.